You get out here. Oh.
What is that thing?
It's a lift.
I beg your pardon?
A lift. Sometimes called an elevator.
Oh, amazing.
They'll have on Earth for a little while.
On Earth?
Certainly.
There is a lot I don't understand.
Oh, naturally. You can't expect to know everything yet. Now, please may I have your name?
I am the Queen of England.
I said your name, not your occupation. That's right. Yeah. Well, seem to be several Catherines due shortly. Well, which one are you?
I have been called Catherine of Aragon.
Aragon.
You seem to be curiously ill-informed.
Ah, yes, here we are.
I am the daughter of King Ferdinand of Spain.
Really? I don't think we've had the pleasure of seeing him here yet.
You amaze me. Poor father. And after all he did for Holy Church, why, he founded the Inquisition.
Indeed.
You will forgive me saying so, but I always understood the beard.
A beard? Me?
I wondered for a moment whether perhaps you weren't Peter after all.
I'm not Peter.
What?
Excuse me. I'm...
What if?
Shh.
I beg your pardon.
There. Sorry. I like to keep a little note of the number of times people ask me if I'm Peter.
Indeed.
And this makes the 3,964.
Then I can hardly be blamed for the question.
Of course not. No need to apologise.
I had no intention of apologizing.
It doesn't matter.
But if you're not Peter, then this can't be, or is it?
No.
Not heaven?
No.
I can't believe it.
Oh, excuse me, excuse me a moment.
Peter.
No. I'm 65.
Oh, well, I didn't think you could be, but one always hopes for the best.
But Nan Bullen, then I am indeed damned.
Catherine of Aragon.
This is hell.
You never said a true word. But I didn't see that you got much to grumble about. You didn't have your head cut off.
I think not.
What?
It is not
What isn't?
my head. I could have sworn.
Well, I should explain. The souls that are delivered here with their bodies complete, no matter how they start their journey.
How very considerate.
Later, of course, will dispense with your earthly body altogether.
Let me like the sound of that.
Excuse me.
Huge, isn't it?
The Almighty in his wisdom has devised it.
I suppose so. If you aren't Peter, who are you?
Well, as a matter of fact, my name is Marmaduke.
Believe it.
I'm a little sensitive on the subject. It's perfectly true.
And who are you?
I am the orderly seraph.
What's that?
I receive the new souls.
Do you mean to say you attend to this thing all the time? World without end?
Of course not. We have 2 eons on and 6 eons off.
See, why haven't you got a tail?
What?
Horns?
Really?
I must say, I'm surprised to see you here, Catherine. Fancy ending up in the same place as old Katie. I can hardly believe it.
I can assure you it is no less of a shock to me.
It's quite nice though. No flames.
I think that you ladies are laboring under a misapprehension.
I hope so.
This is not a hell, as you call it.
Don't play with us. You have already told me it's not heaven.
Neither it is.
Well, what is it then?
This region is called the Entresol.
Oh,
Excuse me.
Certainly kept busy. Have I? Are you?
You have arrived and I'm not Peter.
No. But I never finished what I was saying. How did you know?
I developed an instinct.
No.
Won't you come out?
Oh, right. This is hell! Realise who that is?
no, should I?
It's Jane Seymour. I can know her anywhere. The little hussy was cocking an eye at Henry. I wonder if that was why. Well, doesn't matter. She didn't last long anyhow.
Oh, tell me it isn't true. Tell me it isn't true.
Well, probably it isn't, but I don't know what you mean.
Catherine and Anne. It's Catherine and Anne, isn't it?
Yes?
So what?
Well, if you ladies will just listen to me for a moment, I shall try to explain one or two things.
I think it's time you did.
Won't you join the others?
All right.
I think so. I think you and I have one or two things to discuss, haven't we?
Please, as I was saying, this is neither heaven nor hell.
It's purgatory, I knew it.
No. All those ideas you have on earth about heaven and hell and so on, although extremely picturesque, are entirely false, you know. This region, the Entresol, is a sort of intermediate region.
Do you mean that everyone comes here first?
Well, not everyone. It's rather exceptional. Usually the decision is made before the soul leaves Earth, but sometimes there are factors which make a further examination desirable.
Are we going to have an examination?
Well, in a sense.
Oh dear!
Don't worry. It won't be at all formidable, but the question will be asked.
Well, can't you ask them now?
Yes, what are we waiting for?
Well, we're not all here yet. By the way, I didn't get your name.
Jane!
Jane, yes. Jane Seymour.
How many more people must we wait for?
Well, let's see. There are 2, 4, 6, 7 altogether. So there are 4 more to come.
Why must we wait for them?
Well, the reason for this interlude concerns your relationship with others on Earth. Now, if you will excuse me for a moment, I'll be back instantly to admit the next candidate.
Oh, this is terrible! I wish I'd never come here! I should think that wasn't entirely original.
You're snivelling, child. What does all this mean?
I wish I knew. Something about our relationship with each other on Earth was said.
As if we had something in common.
Oh, so we did. I mean, you and I had everything in common.
I consider that remark in the worst possible taste.
You know what I mean. But where is she coming to it? Jane Seymour.
She can hardly have married Henry and been up here more or less on your heels.
She can't have married him, but I often wondered.
You won't get any sense out of her. She seems quite brainless.
Jane Seymour. Well, was there anything between you and Henry? Of course there was. I gave him a son.
A son? A son?
Do you mean to... It was more than you could do? Either of you?
Shameless. At least our daughters were born in wedlock.
So was my son.
Do be absurd.
It's not absurd. Do you mean to say there was a secret marriage? There was a proper marriage.
And when was your son born?
About a year after she was beheaded.
What?
Yeah. But I haven't been here more than a quarter of an hour. I don't know when, but you've been dead a year.
Exactly where you beheaded.
I don't know if I can give you the date, but it was in May.
after I died.
A few months.
Months?
Yes, why?
Do you know you came out of that lift, or whatever they call it, not 5 minutes after I did?
Surely not.
I haven't been talking to that seraph for more than 5 minutes.
This one's thinking out. Do you suppose he could hear?
I should think the whole firmament heard.
Did someone call?
Yes, Marmaduke, I did. I'm sorry to trouble you, but we wanted to clear up the matter for us.
Well, certainly, if I can.
Well, Jane here says that she died a year after I did.
Yeah.
Well, did she?
Well, I should have to look that up, but if she says so, I expect she did. As far as I know, she's perfectly truthful. We've nothing against her on that score.
And how long would you say it was between my coming here and her arrival?
I see.
Well, how long was it? What time had elapsed?
Well, it depends what you mean by time.
Oh, I was afraid we couldn't expect a straight answer.
Well, the problem is that we don't have time here in the same sense that you have it on Earth.
What do you mean?
Well, it's a little complicated, or at least it seems so to you. I don't suppose that your intelligence is sufficiently prepared to take it in yet.
It's the first time anyone has called me unintelligent.
Please don't take offense. But the problem is that it's a question of relativity. What seems years on Earth passes here in a few moments.
I see.
You sort of hustle along.
Well, you could put it like that. That in eternity, there's no need to hustle.
I see. There, now you've started her off again.
Well, I'm sorry, but I had to explain the problem to the best of my ability.
I suppose so. And I suppose it's quite a few years then since Jane arrived.
Yes.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
Evidently another miracle.
Excuse me.
Thank you so much.
Who is it?
I'm not sure. She's rather like a young cousin of mine. A sort of cousin.
Please, may I have your name?
It's Catherine. You're Peter, I suppose.
Oh, dear.
Have I said the wrong thing?
It doesn't matter, but I'm not Peter.
Oh, you haven't got a beard, of course.
No.
I sort of took it for granted.
His name's Marmaduke.
Not really.
There are several Catherines.
I'm Catherine Howard.
Ah, yes, Catherine Howard.
Catherine Howard, then I just write. Catherine Howard?
Oh, do you all know me?
Vaguely.
You're not.
You can't be. I am, though.
Anne Boleyn.
Yes, Cousin Anne.
What? You were beheaded. And of course, good gracious, I was beheaded too.
Were you really? Really?
But I don't understand. You've been there for years, and who? Catherine O'Malley. James Seymour. I must be going mad.
Oh, don't worry, we're none of us really acclimatised yet.
What does it mean? Where am
Well, it'll all be clear when my partner comes in.
Helpful, isn't he? Well, I think the time has come for us all to sit down and have a nice coat with the chat.
Well, I must certainly discuss the situation. And I suppose she also, if what she says is true. But I fail to see how this new arrival can have anything to do with us. What did you say your name was?
I? Catherine Howard.
One of the Norfolk Howards?
My grandfather was the Duke of Norfolk.
Really? Not royal, of course, but quite a good family. family.
All right, all right. Now let's sit down and get this thing straight.
Yes.
It's frightfully odd.
Positive gift for understatement.
Sit down, child.
I don't know why you all go for me.
What's that?
Nothing. Oh, no, no.
Is my head on straight?
Perfect, good darling.
It's rather marvellous, isn't it? Thought my head had gone for good.
So did I. I suppose we really are dead. Listen up. I don't know about you, darling, but I can assure you that when you see a large man waving a sword, surely, certainly not a sword.
Were you done with a sword?
Of course. My dear, the executioner from Calais came specially.
You were lucky. I always think a sword is so much more refined.
Yes, darling, but I wouldn't worry. It all amounts to the same thing in the end.
I suppose so. But what does it amount to? That's what I want to find out.
It's what we all want to find out. And if you have both finished comparing your last appearances, I think it's time we talked a little sense.
Oh, yes, please.
I seem to remember you died of influenza.
Well, we can't all be beheaded.
Where are we? That's what I want to know.
Evidently, they're keeping us here until they decide what to do with us.
That sounds rather sinister.
Be quiet.
You told you all this, didn't you?
Yes, he's a seraph.
Is he a seraph?
Yes.
No, I think he's sweet.
Oh, dear, yes, dear. But all the same, I really do think we should decide what line we're going to take. Apparently, we've been kept here. And because we had some sort of relationship on Earth. They thought at first that it must be Henry. Because the three of us married him. Apparently Jane did, so she says. I did marry him.
Oh yes, she married him, all right.
Well, I suppose that would account for it as far as we three are concerned. But now that you've come along, well, that alters things altogether.
Not a bit. I married him too.
It's disgusting.
I don't see why.
Oh, my dear, he must have been a good 30 years older than you were.
He was a good bit older than you, if it comes to that.
Yes, but not 30 years.
Disgusting.
I do wish you wouldn't keep on saying that. I don't think I'm any worse than the rest.
I'm not referring to you. I mean Henry.
Well, he was a bit of a ladies' man.
It's really quite revolting.
Of course, you must remember, you were the first. Quite a lot had happened by the time I came along.
Things happen pretty regularly with Henry. I don't suppose he was faithful to you, was he?
Oh no.
Were you faithful to him?
That's besides the point.
I'm not so sure about that, darling. That's what worries me.
How?
Well, this examination, whatever it is.
Oh yes, of course. I'd forgotten that.
I was always faithful. Yes, dear, I can believe that.
We're wasting time. Did you realize that the next arrival will probably be Henry himself?
Oh, unless he's got more wives still.
I think even Henry would stop at 4.
And I, for one, would be glad to see him. I've got one or two things to say to Master Henry Tudor. And one of those is what he was doing playing around with you when he was married to me. I suppose you thought I didn't know.
She must have known. After all, you did the same thing yourself.
What do you mean?
Weren't you playing about with him? As you so elegantly put it, when he was married to me.
Well, that was different. Yes, yours was a political marriage.
It lasted a considerable time.
And you were 6 years older than Henry. Henry liked a bit of fun.
It looks as if he's going to get it quite soon.
Oh, listen! Why? We could all sort of line up as a welcome party.
leg's quite better. Really? Fact, pain's gone entirely. I feel like a 2-year-old. All happened when I was coming up in that thing. What on earth is it? It's a lift. Really? Most ingenious.
It's Henry, all right. I'd know his voice anywhere.
Look at that. You're in trouble with that leg then? My dear boy, I've been troubled for years. But that thing seems to have cured it. And if you're responsible, I'm more than grateful. Oh, I can't claim to have effected the cure. Oh, well, never mind. Who are you, by the way? I am not Peter. Peter? Of course not. Never thought you were. My name's Julian. You? Not really. I'm a seraph, eh? A seraph? Oh, yes, of course. Cherubim and seraphim and all that. Oh, you are clever. Exactly. I really am dead then. Oh, undoubtedly. Yes. Tell me, there are one or two things I would like to ask you. Yes? This is an entirely new experience. Well, you know it always is, eh? Yes, of course. I never thought of that. Fact is, I don't know exactly where I am. No? Stupid, of course. Ridiculous. But you see, well, most people had no doubt. I suppose not. Of course. The surroundings are very pleasant, and as you're a seraph, I don't suppose this could be... Well, you know what I mean. Quite. On the other hand, there was that business of the monasteries. Oh, monasteries, eh? All those lovely monks. I'm afraid I was rather severe with the monasteries, and between ourselves, I was never really quite sure whether the Roman Catholics or the Protestants had the right end of the stick. I shouldn't worry about that if I were you. Wouldn't you? No. Roman Catholics, Protestants, I don't even know who they both are. God bless my soul. It's a fact. Well, I must say that's a load off my mind. So this is... It's merely a sort of waiting room. Oh, I see. I'll decide your ultimate destination quite soon. I see. I'll conduct a little inquiry among your associates. Who? All various people with whom you were associated on Earth. There were so many. But only your most intimate associates. Some of them preceded you. I know that. And I should think they're listening with some interest to our conversation. Catherine! Anne! Jane! Catherine! I don't believe it! No, please, don't. Well, this is a surprise. What?
I'll say it is. Come on, guys.
No, don't let's be hasty.
You're pretty hasty yourself at times.
Well, this is all rather embarrassing.
It will probably be much more embarrassing quite shortly. As we're all here now.
But are we all here, Catherine?
Why, of course. Very difficult of you to marry two Catherines, Henry.
As a matter of fact, I married 3.
What's another?
After me?
Yes?
Well, I'm glad that one of us outlived you, Henry.
I say, is this Catherine? Oh.
Yeah, how nice of you to meet me.
Catherine?
It's Catherine Parr. Would you believe it?
Catherine Parr? Who's she?
After your time.
Aren't you going to kiss me?
Well, my dear, this is a little, public.
Oh, so it is. Never mind.
Really shameless.
It's all right. He is my husband. He's all our husbands. Your face is familiar, and why, you must be Catherine Howard.
That's right. I'm Catherine of Aragon, and I'm Boleyn. Quite a family party.
Well, wives together?
Aren't you very proud of us?
Yes, my dear, of course. Excuse me.
Heavens, don't tell me you're another of Henry's wives.
Sarah.
Oh, of course. I suppose we're all dead.
Yes, my dear, but I didn't expect you to follow me so quickly.
Neither did I, for that matter. But where have I followed you to? Where are we? None of us know. Who's that?
Jane Seymour.
Of course. Quite forgotten. Everyone forgets of me. She burst into tears on the slightest provocation. Oh, I'm sorry.
You are Catherine Parr, I take it?
Yes. And I would like to know where I am.
Well, now that you've arrived, I think perhaps I can clear things up. Won't you all sit down?
Good, let's get on.
Selfish as ever, Henry. You seem to forget that some of us have been waiting a considerable time for you.
I suppose you have. I never thought of that.
Dear, wait a moment. Please sit here.
Oh, certainly, certainly.
Where shall I sit?
Oh, sit anywhere, it doesn't matter.
You stay here beside me, darling. I think we've got a lot in common.
We certainly have.
I'll sit here too. You'll be all the better for someone who doesn't lose their head.
Me?
Well, as my partner has already explained to some of you, this department, which we call the entresol, was instituted to deal with those whose ultimate destination, poor souls, could not be decided before they left the earth.
I see.
Your own is a case in point. It was so complex.
Nothing complex about me, just a plain, simple Englishman.
But one with an extraordinarily varied taste in wives, if I may say so.
Yes, quite. I see what you mean.
Laugh that one off, Henry.
Some of your wives no doubt deserved all they got.
Don't look at me.
Some of them were opinionated and quarrelsome.
Young man.
Some were abnormally oversexed. And some were dreary. And some had extremely managing ways. But I'm told that your treatment of them on Earth, it caused a certain amount of consternation there, and it did not go unnoticed here.
I should think not.
So now that we're all together, perhaps you'd like to tell me quite simply how you came to have so many wives. Oh, perhaps you tell me your side of the story.
What about ours?
All that'll come later.
I shall look forward to that.
Well, you know, this is all rather embarrassing.
That will be a change for you.
I mean, wouldn't it be better if I were to tell you privately, as man to man, so to speak?
So see,
That would be possible. I don't quite know what I'm expected to say. Faults on both sides and all that, I suppose. Don't want to be vindictive.
well, perhaps you'd start by telling me how you came to have so many.
After all, I was a king.
Yes, but even so, you did exceed your quota.
And the circumstances were unusual.
Now that's a point. Were they?
I certainly hope so.
Take Catherine, my first wife. Our marriage was hardly usual, was it?
For the sake of humanity, I hope not. Our divorce was certainly most unusual.
Oh, I should require rather more than generalizations.
Well, to begin with, Catherine is older than I am.
Not so very much, not to any unusual extent.
And she came over to marry my brother.
I did marry him.
That's the point. I I was used to wearing my brother's clothes when he'd grown out of them, but to expect me to marry his widow was carrying things rather far, I thought.
You should have said that at the time. It took you a long time to find out.
I had other things on my mind.
And other women to occupy your attention.
Is that true?
Well, of course, I was married to Catherine for years, and I wasn't a monk.
But it wasn't until I came along that he felt he had to really do something about it.
Well, why were you so different?
After all, my grandfather was Lord Mayor of London. I had my reputation to consider.
And did you consider it?
What do you mean?
I mean, after your marriage, the reason for the harsh measures taken by Henry in your case was that your affections were, shall we say, apt to stray?
That was all a pack of lies.
Really?
All? Well, almost. The real reason was that his attention strayed to Jane Seymour. Oh, could you blame him? Well, I didn't blame him exactly. I just thought he must be wrong in the head. Oh!
Really?
Well, I mean to say, Jane, there were plenty of good-looking girls at court, but Jane, but it simply baffled me.
What was Jane exactly?
Well, I could tell you.
No, I mean, what was her position at court?
She was a maid of honor.
Ah, yes, you were a maid of honor too before your marriage, weren't you?
Yes.
I don't know what you hope to achieve by all this, but Henry was a libertine. There's no more to be said.
But I think there is. Inconstancy is not the only sin. Why did you not manage to hold his affections?
No one could do that.
I did. And I died a natural death. I wasn't divorced or beheaded or anything.
Don't be boastful, darling.
His other faults.
He was a Protestant. He had no respect for Holy Church.
Oh, yes, I think I've said before that we don't pay too much attention here to those little technical details.
Here you are, you see? The fact is, old Catherine was pretty impossible to live with. It wasn't too bad in the beginning, but as time went on, all this nagging about Holy Church and the monasteries and everything, well, you see what I mean.
You mean you turned to Anne Boleyn?
Well, yes.
But you didn't put up with her for long.
No, but as you said yourself, her affections were apt to stray.
And so you turned to Jerry.
Exactly.
Your relationship with her was unremarkable, I think.
Oh, but it was wonderful.
Unremarkable was perhaps the wrong word. Let's say it was the reverse.
I mean to say.
And Jane died.
Yes.
And so we come to Catherine Howard. I'm told that your trouble was the same as Anne's.
Quite.
And you were a maid of honor too before your marriage, weren't you?
Oh, yes.
Language is very strange. And so we come to the third, Catherine.
To me.
Yes. Your case was also unremarkable, I think.
Oh, on the contrary. My case was quite unique.
Oh?
I was the only one who knew how to handle Henry.
Yes, yes. You are, of course, a remarkable woman, my dear, but I don't think the Seraph will be interested.
Oh, but indeed I am. What was the reason for your success?
Experience.
Hey,
He was my third husband.
I never thought of that.
I know you didn't.
This is interesting.
Well, I'd like to make a point for poor old Harry at this point.
Poor old Harry.
May I?
Of course.
Well, there's been a good deal of mud flying, and Henry was no saint, I'll allow, but no man was ever saddled with a bunch of more stupid women than me. Oh, really? Of course you were. None of you had the least idea how to tackle a dog.
And you had, I suppose?
Of course, it's all a matter of common sense and experience. Now, my first husband, I'll admit, was not easy. But my second came along and I knew I got the hang of things. And then, of course, when Henry came along, I knew exactly how to handle him.
See?
And of course, my fourth husband was money but jam.
Most interesting.
What did you say?
I said
Not you, Catherine. Did you say your fourth husband?
Certainly.
Do you mean to say you married again?
Certainly.
Well, really?
Come, Henry, sauce for the goose.
Who, may I ask?
Tom Seymour.
Tom Seaver! Well, really, Catherine, all I can say is you disappoint me.
I was quite a young woman.
Tom Seaver! How soon did you marry him?
Oh, almost at once.
This is horrible.
But after all, Henry, we were married very soon after I was... after I had an accident.
That is entirely different. I am very displeased, Catherine. Very displeased indeed.
there must be something.
There can't be any more.
Wait a bit. Henry?
Yes?
Anna, please. Of course. Quite forgotten her. Henry, how could you?
Stupid. But
You are Peter?
No.
Oh! This is heaven, yes.
No.
Oh!
There must be some mistake.
I have come to the wrong place. I am sorry. I go back.
No. Tell me, what is your name? But surely.
No, there's probably loads of Annes. After all, he married 3 Catherines. Henry had a very conservative taste in names.
Oh, really?
how are you, my dear?
Henri. Oh. It is all right for me to be here, no?
Of course it is.
Sometimes you frightened me a little, Henri. Catherine! My little Catherine! How nice it is to see you. And the poor neck? It is all right? Yes?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Catherine, she is my friend. She is nice. But you say I should not fear?
No, that was my mistake. Divorced, beheaded, died, divorced, beheaded, survived. I should have remembered. Won't you please sit down?
Oh, thank you.
You came a little out of order, if you see what I mean.
This?
He means you lived longer than I did.
Well, of course I did. Much longer.
That's why you came so much after the others.
The others? Hey, Catherine Pat. And little Jane. And you, Benna.
Anne Boleyn, and Catherine of Aragon.
Ah, now I see. But my dear, you must have been waiting here a very long But that's an original idea. And I'm glad I have to see my little Catherine again.
Perhaps I should go through the whole thing again for the sake of our new bride.
Oh, dear. Oh, it'll take hours. She's excessively stupid.
Well, at least I have the brains to keep my head on anyhow. And a very nice pension, eh, Henri?
Yes, my dear, of course.
I was buried in Westminster Abbey. Only one of all his wives so to be.
I can't think where Henry found you. She's not one of the usual type, is she, Henry?
Well, you see.
My father, he sent a beautiful portrait.
Really?
Mama, in
Curtis women seems to be beside the point. Can we not get this matter finished?
It is finished.
But it can't be. Alan doesn't know anything about it yet.
That doesn't matter. Her evidence won't be necessary.
Evidence? What is evidence? It doesn't matter, darling.
Now, sir, I don't think we need detain you any longer. Me? Yes.
You mean it's all decided?
As far as your husband is concerned, you must say goodbye to these ladies. You won't see them again for some considerable time.
Well, there are compensations in everything.
You mean he's not going with us?
No.
Oh, Henry.
Well, you can't say I didn't warn you, Henry. Goodbye.
Oh, Henry!
There, my dear. Shall I never see them again?
Well, never's a long time, but certainly not for Ian's.
Henry, goodbye. It's been lovely seeing you, even for such a short time.
Yes, yes, indeed.
Bye-bye, Henry. It was nice while it lasted.
Goodbye.
Me too.
Goodbye, my dear.
Goodbye and behave yourself.
And may I have final store?
Of course.
That was the very first time.
Well, if you are ready, quite ready. Few mortals have to bear the strain of 6 wives. It wouldn't be fair that he should have to bear it any longer, and certainly not these 6 all together. So he must be separated.
That does seem a little hard on him.
Not in the least. He is going to heaven.